I am Christina Suter, and this is the Real Estate Breakthrough Show, where we talk about the reality of real estate, the mindset you need in order to face the reality of what it is, and tips and tricks to get you moving forward in investing. I am your host, Christina Suter.
For years was on a board of a child care philosophy called RIE, Resources for Infant Educators, and they really believe in, it's similar to attachment parenting, which is the concept of carrying the baby close to you, because there's all this calmness that shows up when parents calm, when the baby's calm, when the baby's held close. It's like, okay, we're cool, right? We're cool beans. And there's a lot of good that seems to come out of it, greater neurodevelopment, right? Greater sense of attachment, great, smoother understanding of how to interact in social relationships, all sort of based on this sort of consistency of just physical closeness as a child. So I support that a lot. You know that I have this background in childcare, but I worked in childcare before I was focused on real estate. So that's good news that you're able to do that and really give the other three kids an access to a parent, and then you have access to that kid, and everybody kind of gets what they need. And that really is about being able to live a full life. I mean, that is a lot that you're asking of yourself on a regular basis, whether it's being a provider, showing up at work, and then you change hats, and now you're showing up at home, right? So what do you do when you can do, like for women in particular, there's this whole conversation of balancing self. Like, how do you take a break? Like, where's your time? And it might be small. It doesn't need to be big. My time isn't very big either. So...
Yeah. So my break, I would say I get up early. That's what happens. Not out of want, really. I have like this anxiety sometimes in the mornings, like, oh, I'm going to wake the baby up or something. So I wake myself up at like 5 a.m, sometimes 4:30 in the morning. And then I'm like, okay, well, now I'm up because I have ADHD personally. So like my brain just starts going. As soon as I'm awake, I'm moving. Right. And so I'm like, oh, what am I falling behind on for the day? Right. And so then I get up, and usually that's my me time. That's the break time is I make myself a cup of coffee. I have a little mocha pot, and I'm a little particular about my coffee. It's a little moment for me in the mornings. And then I have my coffee, and then I get ready for the day, because I know once the day starts, it doesn't end. So, I know personally, if I don't take a jump on the day, like you'll just always be behind. So I used to be a lot more that way until about 2 years ago. The beginning of 2025, I made a commitment to myself. The theme, I like to set a theme for every year. Sure. And 2025 was take back the initiative, right? Mm-hmm. It was, I felt life was kind of getting away from me, and I was chasing the cart rather than pulling the cart, I guess, if that's a good analogy. And so I tried to take control of my life. I did steps like waking up early, a little bit earlier on purpose back then, and really just not letting life control me and trying to control life. There's still a little bit of that. I feel a lot better mentally about that, and I think I'm in a better place with that. But the theme for this year, because I felt very accomplished at the end of last year, and the theme for this year was taking care of what matters, essentially, like spending more time with the kids. I want to take more vacations. We've already taken a couple trips. We took a trip to Disneyland earlier this year. We're going to Palm Springs in about 2 weeks, and just really like disconnecting when I'm off. When I'm not working, just being fully there, because it is a challenge. Like that's one downside of today's day and age is like there's always email, there's always text, there's always something that you could look at. And especially like when you are tired with the kids, like 9 o'clock, the kids finally gone to bed, just being there, even with just Caroline, my wife, can sometimes be a challenge, because you're like, I'm fully spent. You know what I mean? I got no more juice. And so that's one thing we've tried to do, is spend like an hour at night, and just, even if we just watch a TV show or something together. Right. But we end up turning it off usually most of the times, like 5 minutes in, because we'll start talking, and then we'll get caught up for the day and stuff like that. But we're like a little old couple. We have our nightly routine of, we put on a little Netflix something, and then we have a little yogurt with a little granola in it, and that's our dessert. And then we go to bed.
Well, it's great. It's bookending the day. You said something, I think, early, which is very important, which ties all this together, which is the peak performance, the choice to be the best of you, to wake up with your strength in place, to choose to not do things that would take that strength from you, that allows you to remain both a dad, actively engaged, and a provider, actively and engaged. And that peak performance is the thing that is across both of those. Does that seem accurate?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. Like when I am not acting, or I'm not doing that peak performance, whether it's, and I'm not sitting here acting like David Goggins or anything, right? Like, oh yeah. I could always do better. And there's a lot of areas I can improve on, but I try to give my best. And that's what I try to tell my kids. I'm like, Aguirres don't quit, they don't lie, and they do their best, right? That's what I tell the kids. And so what I try to do is be that best I can be all the time, because especially for my kids, like work, I'll sacrifice work more than I will the kids a little bit. But even then,
we won't tell work.
right. But even then, like, it's one of those things where if I feel like I'm not giving them the best, I feel like I'm taking something from them. And there's a scene in Band of Brothers where the guy, there's an officer and he's gambling with the man and he wins, and he goes, the other officer comes over and he's like, don't ever put yourself in a position where you can take from these men. Right. And so that's always a leadership principle I've taken, even for my own family. Like, anybody that's answering to me or my children, I try not to be in a position where I'm like stealing from them or taking from them. And so that's where even that energy and that focus, I try to give them all of that as much as possible.
That is so well said, and that's great. It's a lovely explanation using the scene in the movie. It makes perfect sense. You don't want to be a leader who puts yourself in the position of taking from them. And it's a subtlety that I think not everybody's aware of. And it does. It happens physically. It can happen emotionally, where you demand that you take from them emotionally as a form of, well, we can go down that track. Or energetically. Do I have the energy and the focus to be able to do well for them, for myself? And that's amazing.
We got acquired by one of the big top 5 title insurance companies. I ended up leaving there. I worked for a company called HomeLight for a little while, which was like an agent referral platform. And then started with Pad Split. And so one of the things that kind of stood out to me about Pad Split is I've always tried to be a connector in everything I do. I like to connect people. I don't like to put myself in between things. So I don't like ask for referral fees or anything. I'm like, hey, you need this? Like, here's a guy I know that does that. And I love to do that because I just like helping people, to be honest. And I once I embraced that I like to do that and to not really come at everything with like a money focus, it really changed my life, I think. But another topic. But yeah, so then Pad Split.
Topic. And I wish we had time for it, but that's an important topic right there, because it is a mindset shift that truly makes a difference in being able to find joy in one's life, right? And then peak performance now makes more sense when what you're finding is not peak performance for the money, but peak performance for yourself and satisfaction. That's an important shift.
Oh yeah, like the abundance mindset, like I probably didn't really embrace that. So I'm 35 years old. I probably didn't embrace that till I was probably like 27, 28 years old. And then all of a sudden it clicked. And I was like, okay, because you'd look at other people, you're like, oh, they're doing better than me, or this or that. And then once you stop looking outside and looking at yourself, it changes the game. And I like one of my mentors that got me into the title insurance business, he was talking to me. And when I first went out, because the way they start you in title sales is they give you a box of business cards and say, good luck. And and yeah, there's not like serious training or anything. They don't go around introduce you to existing clients. It's go get new business, right? Yeah, so yeah, so he tells me, I say, how am I supposed to do this? And he goes, just go out and make friends. He's like, go spend 2 weeks out there, visit real estate offices, go to open houses, make friends with people. He's like, the money, the orders, the business will come. You just need to go and be a good person and build relationships. That was a hard thing for a 24-year-old, 25-year-old. However, I was a very mature, didn't really understand. Right now, I'm like, oh, okay, I get what he was trying to say. Like, if you just do that and you're honest and you're transparent and you're real with people, it goes a much longer way than trying to like seduce people into buying what you're selling.
So perfectly said.